Hello, Internet. It is I, Malik Aaron, and welcome back to Box Office Predictions. Today, we're going to be talking about No Hard Feelings. So, as usual, we're going to be going over the pros and cons. So, let's get to it. Pros. Let's see. Movie stars Jennifer Lawrence. Now, J Law here. She's had quite a bit of success, particularly in the 2010s. Like 2010, she was big. Like she was everywhere and I was there for it. Like I mean, she got like a first bit of like mainstream, like real mainstream exposure with X-Men First Class where she was, young Mystique. But then things like really like popped off with the Hunger Games in 2012. That was, man, I'm just thinking about the Hunger Games when it came out, there was so much hype. I remember like in school, right before the movie was about to open, we actually read the book for class. No joke. And when I went to the movie, there was like so much like fan fever. Like it was crazy. And the Hunger Games was an insane hit. It opened with like 150 plus million, which is crazy for a non-sequel. And it made over 400 million domestic, over 600 million worldwide. And then she had Silver Linings Playbook later that year, which helped her win an Oscar. So yeah, Jennifer Lawrence was doing fantastic. I mean, you got, and then also Catching Fire, which made more than the first Hunger Games. And then you got American Hustle, which did great. And then Days of Future Past did great. And then Mockingjay Part 1, 2 didn't do as well as they should have, but they still technically made money. And then, let's, um, we'll talk about the rest when we get to the cons. But I mean, X-Men Apocalypse still technically made money, even though it was a bit of a disappointment. It was definitely a disappointment quality wise, let me tell you. But yeah, I mean, Jennifer Lawrence, like she was, big, like she's a extremely recognizable face. I mean, sure, she hasn't been on the big screen like 4 years, but still very recognizable face. She has a history of success. She's probably going to be the reason why most people watch this movie because she is like the face of the movie. So yeah, I'm labeling her as her presence as a pro. Although there's a lot of cons that I will talk about later when it comes to her, but that's for later. So that's pro number one, Jennifer Lawrence. Pro number two, there's no real direct competition for this movie. I mean, there's like no comedies in the marketplace. Besides, I guess there's The Blackening, but that didn't do great opening weekend. I don't think that's going to be much of a threat. Um, yeah, everything else is just like either the is like an animated is like I guess Elemental, you could argue that's like an animated comedy, but this is like R-rated comedy. Those two things, no. um, but yeah, Elemental's a family film. Spider Verse is a comic book family film. It's a hybrid. Flash is a superhero movie. Transformers action movie. Like this is way different from all those, which helps it stand out, which is really good because it's important you stand out. So yeah, I say the lack of direct competition right now is a pro. So yeah, that's a pro. Another pro is that this is an original flick. It's not based off any pre-existing source material. As I already mentioned my Asteroid City video. This is literally the only weekend this summer where the wide releases coming out on the weekend are not based off any pre-existing source material. They're not based off anything. Okay, they're original. Every other weekend this summer has a movie's gonna be based off something, whether it's a sequel or a remake or an adaptation, or a reboot. This isn't that any of those things. So, yeah, I'm gonna label that as a pro. It's original. It doesn't have to deal with like being a part of a franchise or anything. So That's definitely a pro. I guess another pro is that the director of this movie, Gene Stupinski. Let's see, what has he made? Let me see. Well, he directed Good Boys back in 2019, which, funny enough, was the last time we saw Jennifer Lawrence on the big screen. And Good Boys did pretty darn well, for what it was. I mean, it wasn't like an expensive movie, but it had a solid premise. They sold the premise really well, and people showed up to watch it. It did really nice. So maybe that could translate to No Hard Feelings. Because like with No Hard Feelings, when I watched the trailer, I wasn't like, laughing my ass off or anything. But when I watched the trailer, I usually don't even do that when I watch movie trailers, like especially not in public, like no. But I watched the trailer, I was like, this looks all right. This has potential. I can see this being like a sleeper hit or something like that. So yeah, maybe like the success of Good Boys can translate to No Hard Feelings. I don't know, but Good Boys was the last R-rated comedy hit we've really had. I guess besides Jackass Forever. But although the Jackass movies are real weird because they're theatrical, but they're not like they're not movie movies. They're weird. They're in their own category, honestly. But yeah, so I'm gonna label the director of Good Boys. I'm labeling that as a pro. I guess another pro is that the reception for this movie is pretty decent. Let me try to get to it. Okay, its critic scores at 67%, which is fine. That's not amazing, but it's not terrible. So it's a decent enough score. And its audience score is at 88%, which is a whole lot better than Asteroid City's score. So, yeah, both of those I would label as good things. I think they're both fine. I don't think it has, cinema score is not up yet. Sony is like really like they are stupid late when it comes to cinema score. I don't know why, but I imagine it's probably gonna be like a B plus or something. I can't imagine it's like a C or something. So yeah, reception seems to be solid enough. So I'm gonna label that as a pro. And that's I guess I can mention its Thursday preview number, 2.15 million, which is a lot better than I thought. I thought for sure it would be in the 1 million range, but over 2 million, it's not bad, especially considering this isn't like a franchise movie or anything. Obviously, I wasn't expecting huge Thursday previews for a movie like this. But this number, it's fine. It's just fine. It's not amazing. It's not terrible. It's good. It's really solid. So labeling that as a pro. Okay, cons. All right, Jennifer Lawrence. Let's go back to you. I mentioned all our hits. Now we gotta mention the other movies. um, so yeah, things were going really well for Jennifer Lawrence until like the mid 2010s. Like in 2015, that was kind of the turning point. I mean, Joy didn't do all that great. It did very box office wise. X Men Apocalypse could have made more money. It still made money, but it could have done better. I guess one could argue the same for the Mockingjay movies. They could have done better, even though they still made money. Passengers wasn't quite the hit Sony probably hoped it would be. Didn't help that the movie was kind of trash and it had like a really, really terrible plot twist. Or like the way they handled it was really terrible. And the thing is, it's so frustrating because Passengers could have been much better if it had just a simple rewrite. Just a really small rewrite could have helped it out a lot. But they didn't do it. And then the movie ended up being really weird and just ugh. But yeah, it wasn't the hit people thought it would be. And then there's Mother, a movie that is super divisive. Got an F cinema score. You got to be special to earn an F. um, I like it, but I realize Obviously, not everyone's gonna agree with my opinion. That's fine. But yeah, Mother didn't do that great performance wise. Red Sparrow didn't do that great. At least I don't think. Yeah, it did really when it came out in 2018. And then Dark Phoenix, oof. Oh, Dark Phoenix, that is a movie that I wish never existed. It shouldn't have existed, but they made it anyway. I guess out of stubbornness, I don't know. And like Jennifer Lawrence was like the biggest problem with that movie because not only with like her mystique, like first of all, in the X-Men movies, I'm gonna go on a rant for a little bit, so bear with me. In the X-Men movies, like with starting with X-Men Apocalypse, really, like she stopped being blue. Like Mystique is supposed to be blue. But then she's like, no, I'm just gonna be Jennifer Lawrence, just regular old Jennifer Lawrence. And that pissed me off a bit. Because I'm like, why commit? If you're gonna be Mystique, commit to it. Don't half ass it like this. Don't do that. At least like Rebecca Romijn, like when she was Mystique in the OG X-Men movies, she committed. She was blue all over. She, you know, again, committed. Jennifer Lawrence didn't. And then Dark Phoenix, good God. First of all, her makeup, the way they did Mystique, they changed it for some reason. It just looked really weird. And then, oh no, I'm remembering it now. Jennifer Lawrence Mystique had the the infamous X Women line that is just burned into my brain at this point because it's so awful and it's so cringe, and that's all I'm gonna remember X-Men Dark Phoenix for is for that line, like where she says like, "Oh, the women are doing everything around here. You might as well rename the team X Women," and I just feel my soul just dying a bit just listening to that. Oh yeah, then she died in the movie, which I was actually happy with. I was like, "Yay!" I was actually, a character is good when I'm wishing for them to die. um, but yeah, that was her last appearance in on the big screen. So yeah, this is a 4 year gap. 4 years is a long time. I mean, think about all the shit that's gone down since 2019. Okay, just I'm gonna let that sink in. Everything that happened between 2019 and now. Yeah, a lot, right? So yeah, I don't know if that gap is gonna really help her out. And then like her track record like after the Hunger Games movies became not great. So maybe this could reverse her fortunes. I don't know. But yeah, I'm gonna label like her career past Hunger Games a con. Another con is that the R-rated comedy, like, what happened to it? What I'm trying to figure this out. I still have yet to figure this out. R-rated comedies used to be so big. They used to be like so prevalent, like from like the 90s, the 2000s, and the early 2010s. They were everywhere, and a lot of them did really well. I mean, 2011 was the year of R-rated comedies, really, when it comes to box office. I mean, that summer had Bridesmaids, Hangover Part 2, Bad Teacher, Horrible Bosses, all did really well. And then, 2012, there wasn't like a whole lot, but we had Ted, which was a huge hit. And then 2013, what did we have in 2013? I guess there was The Heat. I'm struggling to remember the rest. I think it was mainly The Heat. But that's We're the Millers. That did really well. Then 2014, yeah, Neighbors, yeah, 22 Jump, yeah, I guess I forgot 21 Jump Street in 2012, and then 22 Jump Street in 2014. Forgot about that. Um, and then like 2015, you had Trainwreck, which did really well back when people kind of tolerated Amy Schumer, and then it just died. Like no R-rated comedy since has made over 100 million domestic. I don't know what went wrong. Maybe it's a quality issue. Maybe it's the fact that we can see this type of stuff. Like we don't even have to go to a theater to see R-rated comedy type stuff. We can just watch it on YouTube. So yeah, maybe just R-rated comedy just became irrelevant. I don't know. So yeah, that kind of puts this movie in a a weird position. um, so yeah, just the state of R-rated comedy. Labeling that as a con, definitely. Uh, Trying to think of another con. I guess just I forgot to mention this with Asteroid City. Just there's a lot of movies in the marketplace right now, and that could result in this movie getting drowned out a bit. I don't know by how much. I mean, the competition isn't exactly super strong right now. I mean, The Flash is expected to crumble completely in week 2. So, yeah, but still a lot of stuff, and not to mention all the stuff coming out later. Yeah, Indiana Jones 5 next weekend, and then after that, what do we have? Insidious, Red Door, Joyride. That's a big issue. That is direct competition. That could hurt No Hard Feelings, maybe. But yeah, that's coming out in 2 weeks. That could steal some of this movie's audience. And yeah, there's just a lot of movies out right now, which is a good thing for like movie theaters, like definitely a good thing, but it's a problem for like the movie's box office, totals, the box office potential. So yeah, just a bunch of movies out right now. That's a con. Um, I think that's it. I think that's the main stuff. Yeah, yeah. So opening weekend. I always, I always felt this movie had sleeper hit potential. Like it, I wasn't expecting this. I'm not expecting this to open big. I think a solid amount would be like 15 to 20 million, judging by its Thursday previews. I think that's a solid number to go with, so I'm going to stick with it. And with its legs, this could have legs. R-rated comedies can have legs. I mean, look at Bridesmaids. That movie played out for weeks. And The Hangover in 2009, that was a mini phenomenon. Ted also had long legs. Like R-rated comedy can go on for quite a while. So maybe the same will happen here. I'm not betting hard on it. I'm gonna say 50 million just to be safe. So 50 million total, and that's it. That's it for the weekend. Yeah, really slow weekend. I know. It wasn't very exciting, but that's just how it is. This weekend was meant to be like it allowed like movies to breathe a little bit, because you had like big movie after big movie after big movie, and then you have slow down and then big movie. that was that's how June was positioned. But next weekend, ooh, we got some stuff to talk about. We got to talk about Indiana Jones 5. Ugh. Man, that's going to be a depressing talk. I just know it. And then we got Ruby Gillman, Teenage Kraken. That isn't looking like a hit either. And I guess Past Lives, which I was supposed to talk about this weekend, but didn't. But I guess maybe I'll talk about it next weekend. I don't know anymore. I don't really care. And then that's pretty much it for June. So, yeah. That's it. That's all. Make sure to subscribe, like this video, leave a comment, turn on notifications, share the whole drill. You want to watch any of the past prediction videos I made this year, the past few years, you can go right ahead. There's also the canceled series where I go over all the movies that were supposed to come out but didn't. I've covered No Hard Feelings twice. The first time was episode 139, where I talked about it. That's when it got its date, its summer 2023 date. I talked about it alongside Orphan First Kill, Secret Headquarters, and Empire of Light. That's when I talked about it. It was the first time. And the second time was episode 168. Talked about alongside A Man Called Otto, Asteroid City, which is coming out this same weekend, and True Haunting, a movie that I don't think exists anymore, and I don't really care. So, yeah, I talked about it twice. So, you want to watch those episodes, go right ahead. You want to watch any of the past cancel episodes I made, all 196 episodes up to this point. Want to watch any of them from beginning to now, you binge it all, go right ahead. I encourage it. Then there's also box office recaps where I go over the box office results for a particular month. June recap will come out mid-July. around the same time as Dead Reckoning Part 1. It's gonna be a really negative video. Because it started like the highest of highs with Across the Spider-Verse, and it's just been a downhill just plummet ever since. It's been rough. So, yeah. Stay tuned for that video. But if you want to watch any of the past recap videos I made on the channel, you can go right ahead. And yeah, that's it. That's all. I am out. Goodbye.